I would like you to imagine that one day you wake up in a foreign country where you don't speak the language, you don't have any residency or work permits, you don't have any family or friends, and you have to start a new life there. Well, what would you do? How would you feel finding yourself in that situation? Well, that's exactly where I was in a summer of 2004 when I came to London for what I thought is going to be short summer holiday. But unfortunately, the situation turned into a little bit of a hell, and I couldn't come back home. I didn't even have the money to purchase a ticket to go back home. So what I thought that is going to be nice touristy kind of experience turned out into desperate job hunt just to be able to pay my rent and living costs. And of course, because I didn't speak English, the only job that I could find was in this quite scruffy hotel as a cleaner. And I remember there was this one time when I'm scrubbing the bathroom and suddenly I hear the door of the room open. So I quickly get up thinking that the residents of the room came back early. But there was this guy, this very unpleasant supervisor that I worked with, overweight, greasy chap, smell of tobacco and alcohol, and there he was. He put "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door. He locked it, and he was walking towards me with a big grin on his face, undoing his belt. I was very lucky that at the time I was in a room that had adjacent door to it, to a different room, so I could make a thin escape. And I remember like now me running across the busy Oxford Street. I'm still wearing my blue maiden's uniform, cleaning gloves on, and I'm running across Oxford Street in this busy rush hour, and suddenly there is this voice that started playing in my head like a broken record. I'm better than this. I'm better than this. I'm better than this. So next day I woke up with that tremendous amount of determination, thinking I have to make more out of this situation, and somehow things started to evolve from there, and strangers came to help me finding a job, sorting documents, and I decided that I will not go back home unless I make more out of the situation than I left behind. So there were these crazy years that followed where I was sleeping 4 hours a night, I was studying full time, I was working at 2 different jobs. I also wanted to have a family, so I had a little daughter at home. And and also because I left so much back home in Lithuania, I felt like I needed to give something more. And Lithuania is one of those countries with the highest suicide rates. And even me growing up, I saw a lot of people that I know take their own lives away. Including my classmate, my uncle who hung himself in our house, one teacher, a neighbor, another relative who left 2-year-old son behind. And therefore I went to volunteer for a charity called Matri that helps suicidal people. And I'll never forget, there was this moment where I was sat in front of this guy who appeared to have everything. He had quite a successful career, quite prestigious job, he had a family and grown-up kids, and he didn't want to live. And there I was in a foreign country, not having much with me, really making a very difficult life for myself. and I didn't feel like I don't want to live. I never questioned myself or not wanting to live at all. And then there was this question in my mind of what is it that makes a difference? What is it that makes a difference of why people take the same circumstances, the same scenarios, and react to it in such a different way? And I somehow felt like I have something that these guys needed so much, but I didn't know what is it that I needed to give and how. So I started all of this journey of studying psychology, neuroscience, interpersonal neurobiology, anything that I could just get my hands on that would explain the difference in people's behavior. What shapes our response to environment? What shapes our character, behaviors, and most importantly, our mindset, and therefore the level of success that we can create in our businesses. And with that experience, of course, I've started therapy and coaching for my clients, and I was always helping those that nobody else wanted to work with. So suicidal, depressed, anxious people. And at the same time, I also had a career, management career, and I was training leaders and other managers. And at some stage, I did put the two together and found my own ways that can explain what is it that shapes that success, and how can we create different ways of creating impact in our lives around us, and that we are not shaped by our experiences. It's what we make out of what happens to us that then shapes our future and the results that we can give to others. So I wish that was end of happy story, and I would be this person who's strong and powerful and just going on and helping others. But at some stage, working like I was, I did eventually burn out, and there was this one time when I ended up collapsing at work without being able to breathe, and I found out that I do have a tumor in my chest. And of course, the treatment, the operation, the recovery time again invited me to completely question who am I, where I'm going, what I'm doing. And I realized that having that determination and drive and believe in yourself is not enough, because we cannot create that real success, those sustainable results in a long term at the cost of our own health, of our well-being, sacrificing time with our families and things that really matter to us. And therefore my approach to my coaching and my therapy shifted there, to include all of the stress management and well-being, and find better ways to create that success in a way that doesn't compromise other areas of our life. So I have created the Mind Boost workshop with that goal of collecting all those best techniques, all of this research that took me more than a decade to find those answers. A lot of my own qualifications that I've spent, I think, over £70,000 on different courses and training and qualifications, and my own mentoring and coaching for myself to find the best ways. And all of those best things that I've discovered, I wanted to share with others, in hope that you don't necessarily have to go through things that I had to go through, and go through all the burnout and take 10 years to discover some sort of work-life balance for yourself and create the impact in a way that doesn't make such a big sacrifices.